Hey, Tom. Hey, Shelly. Seattle. Um, Carmela, or is it Carmela? Yeah, Carmela. If I mess this up, Grenada, Mississippi. Welcome on. Yes, Atlanta. The ATL is in the house. Welcome on, guys. Hey, Steve. Fort Lauderdale. Awesome. So we got folks already popping in from all the way from the far northeast or northwest, all the way to the Midwest. To I'm right here in Kentucky, Cincinnati markets. Um, we got Georgia, we've got Mississippi, Tennessee, New York, and Chicago. This is wonderful, guys. Keep logging in from what city and state you're from. Type in the chat room if you would. It's always great to see where people are jumping in from and logging on. And it's also great for our guests to see where other people are watching from. So, guys, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Welcome on, everybody. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome on. This is Scott Buckholz. I am your host today for this Zoom property tour. We do these every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. I also have on Yas Hawk. She's our co-host. Uh, Plus, we have several people that are helping people get logged in this morning. I'm gonna be bringing out TJ Schemold here in just a minute. Cannot wait to see this deal that he's doing in North Carolina. It's a very fascinating deal, not only with a property but then some land. So he'll be sharing that here shortly. Again, keep typing in the excuse me, got a little frog there. Keep typing in the chat room what city and state you're from. Yes, Maya, awesome. Welcome on from Bear, Delaware. Robert's on from Frederick, Maryland, Fort Lauderdale. Guys, we got folks logging in from all over the country. Please help us type in the chat room what city and state you're from. We're going to get started in about 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. We still have a lot of people logging on. And again, hope you guys are having a beautiful Saturday, the Saturday before Christmas. Cannot believe that it's here already. I'm sure you guys are going to be busy this afternoon doing things with Christmas or spending time with friends or family or working on your real estate properties. But guys, it's so great that you've taken some time out to jump on today. So we're going to go ahead and get started here.
Recording in progress.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, December 18th. Unbelievable. It's the Saturday before Christmas. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm very honored to be able to share TJ Schemold's property down in North Carolina. Thank you guys for taking an hour of your day out. We really appreciate it. I think you guys are going to get a lot from this property tour. Again, we do these every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We are a national group of real estate investors, and we collaborate and work with each other. Guys, we learn with each other. TJ is definitely.
Hey Scott, we can't hear you.
How about now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you. What part did you lose now? Somebody put me on mute. What part did you lose me on?
Oh,
I know it's hard to remember. But guys, we're going to get started here. I apologize for getting on mute there. Thank you, though, Yes, for letting me know. TJ and Jacob are a part of our community. We've had them out before sharing one of their deals on our Zoom property tours. Guys, this is exciting time of the year. It's a great time, obviously, to be very grateful and blessed and thankful for everything in our lives. But I'd love to bring TJ out. TJ, are you ready to go?
I am ready.
Okay, we've got you. Video looks great. Audio sounds great. Smile looks great. Looks like
Good.
looks like you got a little bit of a rain jacket on there.
Yeah, we kind of lucked out here that the rain has stopped for the moment. I have my umbrella, so we'll see how long it lasts here. But
well, TJ, I'm so honored and privileged to have you back out. I know you haven't been out for several months. This is a new deal that you'll be sharing with us. And so, to kind of kick things off, TJ, we do these every Saturday, except, we got Christmas coming up next Saturday and then New Year's after that. So we'll take a couple weeks break. But we feature investors from our community all over the country on a regular basis. And so there's going to be a lot of people on today that may be new to the community, or maybe they haven't got started with us. They're kind of checking us out. This is the first time they've seen anything. So they've never met TJ. They've never met Jacob. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of like why real estate investing, how you got started, maybe how you found our community? Could you do that for us?
yeah, I certainly can, and I do need to start that my business partner Jacob Roberts does send his apologies. He had to take care of some things at our other properties in Greensboro today, so it is just me. I get to be on camera and the cameraman all at the same time, so this will be interesting. But I started, I was trying to think, I have always been interested in real estate ever since reading Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like 20 years ago. And it was something I always wanted to do. And, it just, I would read things about it. And it was in 2018 that I saw that my car payment was going to be paid off. And I said, okay, now here's my chance. I'm going to use the money from my car payments and invest maybe in a mobile home or something. And I had that panicked feeling of, oh my goodness, how do I exactly do this? I mean, I had the intellectual knowledge from the books, but the real knowledge, I just didn't know, like, what I would need to, what contracts do I need? How do I approach this? How do I find the money for it? And so I went into this panic mode. And incidentally, about my car, my payments, it lasted 3 days. I was free and clear on my car, and my engine on the car seized up and died. So I had to, get another car and more car payments. But at that time, I was determined that I had set my goal, and I wanted to go and do real estate. And I started searching, well, if I wanted to try to pay my car off quicker or my house off or something so I could have this cash flow again. And I started searching on YouTube and came across a member of the Renatus community, Yuri, who had a YouTube video up about paying off debts in like a third of the time. And, I was very interested and started up a conversation with him, and, really told him that, I was really interested in real estate, not necessarily paying down my debts, but getting into real estate. And yep, that was the Velocity Banking that he told me about in the Renatus community, and how that was in one of the educations we have, one of the classes. And so I got looking into that, and I was really intrigued, and I just went all in. I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to go in real estate. I know I wanted to do rentals. I was interested in fix and flips, but I went all in with the X combo. And incidentally, why I want to talk about this property. So I started the end of 2018 with Renatus. This property here behind me is a single family home. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And a friend of mine was talking to me about real estate because he's interested in real estate as well. And he says, well, I have this deal. This is the father of my child's best friend. They actually live at the house, or his grandmother lives here right next door. And this property came available and there was a renter in place. And he said, well, I know you're learning this real estate thing. Did you want to check it out? And it was a great opportunity, but I was so new just getting into my essentials classes and all that. I was still under the mindset that, I needed to go to the bank to get a loan, and I had been working on my credit, and, I didn't have like the extra funds. So it's like, it just wasn't the right timing. And with the knowledge, I started making connections with people in the Renatus community. And that's how I met my business partner, Jacob Roberts. We went in on a deal together in Greensboro, North Carolina. And this property kind of circled back to me. The property, and I guess I'll dive right in, Scott, if that's.
Well, it's very fascinating because that happens more than people can imagine. That you look at a deal, the timing's not right, maybe the numbers aren't right, because again, at the end of the day, it's always about the numbers. And the numbers might not be right. Like you said, timing might not be right, but things tend to circle around sometimes. And so that's very interesting how this happened. So this deal with you and Jacob, your partner, I know you guys have been really focused on buy and hold. What does this property make? How many have you got in your portfolio now?
So we have 4 properties we have now. We've done a few fix and flips. Jacob was actually into real estate long before he ever came in contact with Renatus. He had done several different properties and had found Renatus because as he had said, like there's a lot he didn't know. And he was just kind of making his way with real estate and kind of figured it out as he went. With Renatus, he was more solidified. He was in it for 3 years. By the time I got in touch with him, he was doing some different deals that we, I connected with him through the community. We had a few of us that would kind of talk about deals and different things that we had. And we started with a property, a duplex in Greensboro, North Carolina, that we are renting out by the room. So we have 4 rental properties, but that property, we have 8 people in that property, and another property we're renting out by the room that we have 5 tenants, which really, increases the amount one can make.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah. So you've got out of your 4 properties, one of them, you've got 8 rental doors. Is that correct? And the other one's got 5?
And another one's got 5.
Love it. So obviously, are those both in Greensboro?
Yep, those are both in Greensboro. And there is such a need in that community that we're able to help people that can't quite afford, the rent or down payments of a regular apartment. So this gives them an opportunity. They have a shared bathroom, shared living room, a private bedroom. And it gives them an opportunity to save money and build on their credit, and things like that, in order to
so
move up.
That's like a strategy within a strategy. So you've got a buy and hold, or I don't know if you did any repairs. It might have been a fix and hold, the 8 unit. But then again, within the strategy, you're renting it out by the room. Now, of course, everybody on today or anybody that might watch this recording, you always got to check your local ordinances and your codes and make sure. Like I know in the Cincinnati market, I'm in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. And in the Cincinnati market, if you rent a house out by the room, you can only rent a max of 5 rooms. And you have to be licensed, you have to get a permit and so forth. So
all of that.
Yes, I figured you did. I know you would. I know you would follow all the rules, TJ, because I know that's the kind of investors you guys are. But I'm just letting everybody know on on the call today. It's a great strategy. If your market, if there's a need for that room to room type thing, it's a great way to maximize cash flow. You know, but yeah, let's not take a lot of time away from this deal. I just wanted to share with some folks a little bit about what you guys have been able to accomplish, a little bit about your background. It's awesome that you mentioned your partner Jacob again, you know, because he was already doing deals before he found the community. And I love that saying. I hear it so much. You didn't quite say exactly this way, but you don't know what you don't know. And you
Right.
said Jacob really didn't know what he didn't know. And we have got so many people in our community across the country that find us after they've already done real estate, and they're kind of hesitant. They're like, what do I really need this group for? And then they start peeling some layers back, and then all of a sudden they take a couple classes. Example, Bill Omi. Oh my gosh, he's one of our investors from Georgia, and he had done several deals before he was introduced to our community. And his mindset was, I'm too cool for school. I mean, that's his famous saying. He was too cool for school. And then he took his first class and he was like blown away. And the rest is history. But so tell us how you found this deal. This is the one that circled back to you. So it's kind of a friend is
Yeah.
it your son or your daughter's parents or something?
Yeah, my daughter's best friend. And let me switch the camera here so I can act as the cameraman. So the grandparents live in that house there, and this property is right behind theirs. So they were approached and saying that, this was up for sale if they were interested. So the grandmother passed it along to the son, and the son knew I was learning about real estate and all that, and brought it to me. And having the conversation with the guy, he wanted the property sold. He said he had it under contract at one point in time for $83,000. So he was willing to sell it to me for 83. And then as we were discussing, he says, I'll go down to 73. And we're talking a little more and, building a relationship. And by the end, he says, well, I'll let it go for 63. And I'll throw in the 1.9 acres next to this property for free. So at the time, this was a wonderful deal. Looking it up, and we've had an appraisal since. It was worth 94,000 before we did some renovations and things on it. So it was a good deal, and the big plus to it was the land. And as I said, I had just begun in the community. I didn't really know. I was like, well, where do we get the money for this? How are we going to do this? So I had to let it go and met Jacob. And as I said, we went on to other properties, and this cycled around. He was still willing to do the 63,000 with the land in for free. So at this point, I had learned a little more about how to raise capital that I, had been working on my credit and all that, but learned that, I didn't need my own money. We were working with private investors. So we got a private investor to help us out with this. So he put in 55,000. I had learned with the Renatus community, took out some equity in my house through a home equity line of credit, and put in 10,000 of my own funds. So I'm walking around a little bit here. As I said, it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We had a renter in place already. He was renting it for $400 a month at that time. So The owner really just, he lived, I believe it was like 5 hours away. He was getting older. This was his family home that he was born in and had inherited it. So he just kind of wanted out, and having a renter in place had already helped a little bit with the payments. We had to go up a little bit on the rent to be able to, cover the payments we had. And we had a deal, the renter in place, and that's why we are kind of mulling around the outside here. We do have a rent here home, so we want to give them their privacy. I think we'll have some pictures to look at the inside here in a little bit. But this renter who was here had an interest in purchasing the house, but he did not have the credit. He was working on his credit score. We had discussed with him different ways we could do this, and so we had a deal with him that we wouldn't go up too much on the rent if he were willing to buy the house, and that we would work with him on helping him build his credit, building a funds for a down payment and things of that sort. So all was going great. And
that is awesome, TJ, that you're able to help that tenant out. There's so many folks in our community that are doing that strategy. I mentioned a gentleman by the name of Bill Omi a few minutes ago that's a part of our community out of Georgia, and he does a lot of that. That is his focus strategy, where he buys less, priced homes, and he finds tenants who cannot traditionally get a loan through a bank, and he works with them and helps them set up where they can actually purchase it. And that is really good. And hopefully this tenant knows you're walking around with a phone at his house or her house, because she might. Okay, good, because they might think it's a little strange. You're the landlord and you're walking around the house like that. But I know you've got some pictures that I believe Yaz will be able to pull up and share her screen. And as she's getting ready to do that, I do want to mention, guys, again, you might be new to our community. If you're on today, you may be a guest. Someone may have thought enough of you is like, hey, check this out, see what we're doing as a national community of investors. But right after this today, at 5 after the hour, we start pretty on time. 5 minutes after the top of the hour, it'll be a different link, but you can actually learn more about a lot of the things that TJ and I have talked about so far, and that he'll continue to cover and expand a lot more. It's more of an introduction into our community, into our education, into what we do as a community. So, there she is. Thanks, Yaz. So, can you see the screen okay, TJ?
So yes. Yep. So this is and to add a little bit. So I think what's great about the Renatus education is that we've been able to pivot a couple of different times with this. So the original tenant in place ended up needing to leave, which gave us an opportunity to fix up a little bit more. We added all new windows. We were able to redo the floors. There was some damage in the bathroom, which I believe there's some pictures of, and add a HVAC unit. So we were able to improve the property a little more, and we were looking for a similar situation for another renter that would want to own. And at the time, which is a odd scenario, but it works out, that my ex-wife needed to move. She was in one apartment and needed an apartment, and I said, well, we have this available. And she said, well, she did not want to rent from me, but she would buy from me. So we are in a similar situation, that we are working with her to help build her credit as well, and she's got an improved property than what the original tenant had. And we have negotiated a little bit. When we look at the numbers, you'll kind of see why, that she has taken over a lot of the renovations of the property. She actually contributed to helping redo the floors, and she takes
Now
care.
you did say your ex-wife, correct?
Is my ex-wife, which is probably why I thought I'd have a little bit of influence to see the inside, but this it was a no-go. But we
I
still.
had to put you on mute for a second and kind of chuckle a little bit, then come back off mute. So this deal just keeps getting better. This deal keeps
It
getting
is an
better.
interesting deal. So you see some of the pictures here. So she actually was the one who redid the floor there in the kitchen. She had painted. This is our child's room. I think
we've got the picture for the kitchen up again.
Yeah. So that was all tiled. So my ex-wife, named Jennifer, took care and funded all of that herself. She actually got all new appliances in, and so we've been kind with the rent. She's basically covering our costs, because the big selling point on this was the land next door here that we can develop. And actually, Yaz, if you could go back to that, the first picture, that's actually my shows the room there. That was my daughter's room before it was renovated. So after the first tenant moved out, he had young kids, and they loved these stickers, which were amazingly difficult to get off the wall and on the ceiling, no less. They had bunk beds, so there were stickers all over the ceiling. So those all had to come down bit by bit, and Goo Gone and everything else to get all the stickiness off. And then my ex-wife came in and did all the painting herself, bought the paint, had all the hardwood floors redone. So we've been working together. We co-parent as well, so we still make a good team even though we're not married. So we've been helping her out as she's helping us out.
Yeah, that's a great scenario. So obviously the biggest thing, and you mentioned it again here just a second ago, one of the biggest plays on this whole deal was the 1.9 acres.
Yeah.
Is it adjacent or behind it?
Yep.
It's right next to it.
If we can go back to my screen, and I can kind of show you the land scenario here. We have an interesting
we've got you.
Concept here. So it actually came with 2 plots of land. So the house is here, and it's very interestingly set up because it's behind another house. We are less than 5 minutes from downtown Morganton, so it's an ideal place. The city, now this is the land, there was like a little sliver of land here that we are going to sell with the house. And over here is where the 1.9 acres are. The city of Morganton had started, if you see this kind of dirt road here, they started building this road, and they were going to continue up through here, but I guess the landowners behind us here did not want to sell, and so this was sort of an abandoned project. But we have the land, you see the road there, so all city, all hookups are right here. The way the land is and I think you can kind of see through the trees, the house there. So there's enough to do a home here. We've had a builder come out and kind of divide up the land. The zoning wise, we can do anything here from mobile homes to small apartment complexes like of 5-6 units. So we have had a builder come out and take a look at the land. We can probably fund basically our whole project by building a house first here on this front land, selling that, because that being right near the main road there is a premium lot. And then the land kind of comes back here and goes behind these houses. It's sort of like a upside down L. And the wonderful bit about this is, the majority of land is back here, but we have this wonderful road that the city had already started to be able to access the back where the majority of the land is. So this is something, as we've discussed with the city, like I said, nobody is claiming this land. We could either claim.
We lost you there, TJ. You froze up. TJ, you're frozen a little bit there. Hey TJ, if you can hear us, your screen is frozen and your audio is not there.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Now we've got your picture with your suit on. Go ahead and turn your camera back on. I think you might have got so far away back in toward the woods, we just lost all signal.
Yep. So I'm near the house. I'm actually on the Wi-Fi. So.
Oh, there you go. You got too far away. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So I know that, again, big play on this whole property was the land itself. This past year I've been able to develop and build 5 new homes, and so I've got a little knowledge about what has to happen with that process. But I think you said the land itself, it was appraised, or it's valued at how much by itself? The 1.9 acres.
The land was 30,000. So already we're coming into this deal that we paid 63 for everything. The house was worth 94 before we put the HVAC in, before we redid the windows, before we redid the floors, and plus we have another at least $30,000 on the land here that we've had some people come in and offer us money for it. So that is always a possibility, because everything is right here: city water, city sewer. This is an upcoming area of Morganton. They just redid, I guess, the whatever it's called, the high density cables for internet and everything in this neighborhood. So it's an older neighborhood, but bit by bit there are investors like myself coming in and redoing a lot of these properties. So this has the potential of some great resources, and this road coming up, and I think that's where I froze, that we're able either to get the city to recommit to this road, but it gives us an opportunity to access the back of the land here where the majority of the acreage is.
Right. Well, we've got a question from William. William wants to know, how would you know what to do with the land? Did you learn any of that from the classes, from our community?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we do have some courses in land development. The main part is deciding exactly what we want to do. Because like I said, we have an opportunity. We can go anywhere from mobile homes to single family residence up to, some smaller apartment complexes. So our strategy at the moment is really looking at the land in the front that would have has the greatest tax value. If we build a house on that, sell that, then that is going to be able to fund, the other projects. So we're looking to kind of maybe put, two houses towards the front here, and then have more of an apartment complex there in the back, that we would keep and be able to rent out.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing deal when you kind of develop that and move forward. Let me pull up the numbers here. Very innovative. Yes, it is, Carmela. Let me pull up the numbers here for everybody.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, with this property, we are basically, the tenant is paying our expenses. And of course, there's always the added expense of little things coming up. We had some difficulty with some critters. If you saw under the shed there, that we had a groundhog digging under there, which we had to deal with. Had a couple of skunks, actually an albino skunk, which I have found out in the state of North Carolina, you cannot remove a skunk from your property. And apparently you can't kill them either, unless only certain times of the year or something like that. So we are in attempts of scaring these things away right now. But anyway, a lot of those, extra costs, the tenant is helping out with.
Yep.
So
I've got the numbers pulled up as well. Can you see your screen?
Yes. So as I said there, you see our acquisition cost was $63,000. We had the tenant in place initially, so we did very little changes to the property until he moved out, and then we could really get in there and redo the floors and all of that. So that rehab cost came probably a year into this. We purchased this property actually May of 2020. So even during a pandemic, you can find good deals and do good things.
So for your 10,000 rehab costs, when you told me all the things you did for $10,000, can you go through with the group what you did for the 10,000? Because you got a lot done.
Yeah, well, the windows, we got all new windows in, the HVAC unit, and the floors. And so we came across a wonderful, the biggest expense was the HVAC. The floors, and that $10,000 was kind of split between us and the tenant. My ex-wife had a friend who did flooring. That was his area of expertise with refinishing hardwood floors. So she was able to get a deal on that. We had a wonderful handyman, a jack of all trades, that helped fix up. We had some holes and stuff in the bathroom, and he did some little projects here and there for me. And lo and behold, he said, well, he used to work for a window company installing windows. and he gave us a wonderful deal on putting the windows in. And he did, I think there were 9 windows he did in all in a day. I mean, he was just so quick and so precise. It was like a couple hours and he had them in. He even had to, adjust a little bit that, things aren't always perfect on these older homes. So he had to adjust a little bit and didn't charge us any more for that. So, we got some really good deals of just using the relationships we had.
And if I remember correctly, you had mentioned when we talked, and then of course I think you said it a few minutes ago, when you got this appraised at the after repair value of 94, that was before you put the 10,000 into it.
Yes, they came out to appraise it as we were just starting all the renovations. So they did not see the HVAC, they did not see the windows. They saw that we had renovated the bathroom and kind of done that, but that was a bit all they had seen. They didn't see we had, there were rugs in the living room and stuff we ripped out to do the hardwood floors and all that. So yeah, so the 94 is low. I mean,
it's very conservative.
Yeah, I would expect it to be at 120 or more at this point, especially with the housing prices and stuff in this area just keep going up. So you look down there, and as you see our holding costs on it, so that is what we pay to our private lender, what we're paying in taxes and insurance, our $6,691 a year. That works out to like $558. The rent on it is $550. And like I said, that's basically covers all our expenses. Jennifer there, she takes care of the lawn. If there's little things in the house, she takes care of. So we don't have very much costs in that regard. But to have our costs covered, to have equity in the house, and we're actually looking now, literally just looking this week to refinance the house, to be able to pay off our private lender, and be able to take some cash out of the house to be able to pay ourselves back for some of those rehab costs. So we were just looking at that and lowering our interest rate and all of that. So then the rent would be actually making a profit. Having the equity in the house and the potential with the land next door is just, that was the appeal here. And we had a similar deal in Greensboro, very similar, that we got a house with the land next door, a lot of land for free with the purchase of the house. So this has been a great opportunity and a great example of, why I said I went all in with Renatus, is that we've had to shift. This is a rental. It's a fix and flip. It's a rental property. It's a lease to own. And I had no idea of any of that, and the possibilities without the education and all that has really given the opportunity that, and Scott, you mentioned, this time of year of being thankful, and, I've been truly thankful to Renatus and in the Renatus community. I've just met so many wonderful people that, are willing to answer the questions that have been out there. The education itself is just not, it's not like the book learning I have, to the contract, the purchase agreement for this property I got off, the Renatus, some of the samples Renatus gives us. And that's what I use for the purchase agreement for this house. So I'm just really thankful for people like you, Scott, and Yaz, and the community in the whole.
Well, that's awesome. We've had just a few questions come in, but you've actually been answering them. Obviously, being a part of this community, speaking for myself to kind of tie in with what you said, TJ, I have learned so much. I mean, I had some construction background. I was a project manager in my previous work life, but oh my gosh, what I did not know and what I continue to learn. And you also talked about just the collaboration, and that
Yes.
was one of my biggest reasons why I got involved 6 years ago, was because of the community and such a pay it forward mindset, and people just like yourself today willing to take out time on a Saturday to share your deals, share your what you got going on, and it's just amazing. And let's see if we've got any more questions here, TJ. I think again we're right on time. I do want to mention again, guys, we've got getting started here in about 15 minutes or so. If you would love to check out more about our community and what we do and who we are and about the education, about, TJ talked about how he was able to have a conversation with someone and was able to use private lending to do this deal. The most of it, he did do a little bit with a HELOC, but the majority of it, he was able to obtain through a private lender. That's and I say this on a regular basis, TJ. I mean, just think 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, before you found this community, you'd already read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, years ago, years like I did. I read it years and years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I did the Carlton Sheets stuff years and years ago. But just think 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, you probably had a mindset like a lot of people have, and that is, you know, I don't know even know where to start to find private money. I don't even know where to start to find funds to buy this house. You know, can
Exactly.
you visit a
Well,
little bit on that of how that changed, how that dynamic changed when you
yeah,
found the
well,
community? Go
you
ahead.
know, in 2018 and my immediately I've always had side businesses and things. I was working at a pharmacy as a pharmacy technician, the 40 hours a week, and the classes began to open my mind. I think my first class I took was Mark Kohler's um tax and legal class, and having had businesses on the side for years, it really opened my eyes. I just didn't know anything. um, and right away, so then it was a little less than a year. So it was September of 2019. I got my first property with Jacob. This came in May of 2020. And actually the month before, in April, I was able to quit my full-time job as a pharmacy technician and do this full-time. So I have been really thankful for that, and never thought that would happen. So it was like a year and a half in, I was able to quit my job, and haven't looked back. As any business, there's been ups and downs. The pandemic really threw some difficult moments with some of our tenants not being able to pay. And fortunately, most of them have all caught up due to federal funding and all of that. And we had some difficulty. We're working on a fix and flip that it was near impossible to get some contractors out and things like that with the pandemic. And we had a couple of our people come down with COVID, our electrician and HVAC guy on the fix and flip property. But we've learned, and I think the education helped us learn, that there's more than one way to do a deal, and that you make your money when you sign that contract. That this fix and flip has been going on way too long, but our holding costs are such that it's okay, that we're still going to be making money on this, even though there were all these different weird things that came up because of the pandemic and all of that. So it's really, I am really thankful. And again, we said, you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know a lot. I think, we thank every day that, I have the education, and I go back to it. You know, I've gone through like all the essentials, and when we're looking at a fix and flip, you know, I go back through that and refresh my mind about things. And that's a great thing with it online, is I can keep going back to it. And every time I rewatch it, I learn something new that my mind wasn't in that place yet, or I hadn't seen enough to be able to see that and acknowledge this new idea. The next step for 2022 for me, Jake has done some of it with his wife, is doing some short-term rentals. And he has 2 short-term rentals that he's using with the strategy that we've learned with Renatus, that you don't need to own the property to be able to have it on Airbnb and all of that. So that is my goal in 20.
So he's using the arbitrage model. You kind of froze up on us again, TJ. You're back.
Am I back? Okay.
Well, we see the picture of your suits. You have to turn your camera back on.
There we go.
Yeah, you just mentioned your partner, Jacob. Him and his wife got a couple short-term rentals. They're using the arbitrage model. Is that what you said? They're not buying the properties?
Yes.
That's a very popular strategy. We have a phenomenal group of classes on that. Oh my gosh, they are so good. But guys, this has been a great property tour. Again, get back with whoever invited you if you want to plug in after this and learn more about our community and about what we do and how we do it. Get back with whoever invited you out. They'll send you a separate link that you can actually jump on here in about 10 minutes or so. We also have other events going on, you know, all the time. We have Saturday workshops. We have real estate workshops. We have other property tours throughout the week. We've just got a lot of different things. You mentioned the velocity banking, the debt reduction. We have some great training. We had some great trainings throughout the week on that. Could you leave everybody with a couple, or 1 or 2 tidbits? Like if you were meeting somebody for the first time that, you know, was wanting to do real estate, and what could you give them? What kind of words of advice? What kind of couple golden nuggets could you give them?
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
I have learned, like when I began, I thought I had to have the money. I thought I had to have the credit. I thought I had to be the one to do the work on the property. I have a little bit of skills that I can do some work. I love to paint. I'll do painting on the properties all day long. But I realized that, you know, you don't need to do it all yourself. That truly this Renatus, you're plugging yourself into a community of people who have been there and done that, but you also have people that have, you know, the connections that, you know, we needed a plumber, and you just put that out there, and people in the area say, oh, well, try this guy, don't try that guy. You know, you can find it's really, I think that, and someone put it in the chat there, that it is a team effort. That I'm so thankful for meeting Jacob, that we can, you know, when you have more than one mind on a project, it helps, because there's things he sees. Like I say, he has the experience that he can go into a property and he knows exactly how much money it's going to take to renovate it. I go in, again, from one of the classes, the fix and flip class, is a form that you can print out, and it'll go through, and that's what I walk through with that form. Like, how many doors are we going to need? How many windows? How many this? And it gives you the prices and everything. And I go through all my calculations, and I get what Jake came just intuitively knowing. So he's got the experience. I've got, you know, I've got my classes that I can use, but it's a good reinforcement to know that it does work. And I think that's the biggest thing. I never thought, I mean, we bought our first house in 2019 all the other properties we've done has been in 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic. So even when things are low and all of that, there are still deals out there. Prices of housing are going crazy, but there are things out there, and just having that connection with people and putting it out there like this, that I was learning real estate. So a friend of mine said, hey, I've got some real estate for you. That's how it works. You can't do it alone.
Yeah. Mary, I do want to answer this question, Mary. I did see your question in the chat room, and it's a great question. And Mary asked about contractors, about, for someone who can't do a lot of the work themselves. Maybe they don't have that skill set. They're not handy. If I could take this question, I'd love to do it. So there are a lot of things I could personally do on my deals because I do have some skill sets and I can do some stuff, but I find it better not to. I find it better to let professionals do it. I find it better to use my time differently than to try to do a lot of the work on my projects. But her question was, how do you find good contractors? I mean, that's a $1 million question. For everybody. And I will tell you, there are ways. It does seem a little harder today than it did a few years ago. And, for the most part, majority of contractors are just covered up and really, really busy, especially ones that are good and they have a good crew working with them. They tend to be really busy. And, pricing is up. Not only is pricing of materials up, pricing of the cost of houses are up. There's different cost differences that are up, and so are contractors. But, one of the ways and I shared this on a call. We had a Wednesday night mastermind call this week, and I was sharing with a group of people on there about vetting contractors and how important it was, to really follow up. And, so when you're talking to a contractor, definitely take a look at the work they're doing, find out where jobs are on right now, go look at those jobs, get some references from contractors. Because, Mary made a comment that, she had a bad experience already once. And I think if you're in this business long enough, and TJ, I know you've been doing this for a couple of years, but you're going to come across a contractor that maybe you'll never use again. Okay. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yes. We've had a few that we've gone through.
Yeah. So that's going to happen to all of us. Obviously, what you don't want to happen is have someone that really hurts your project and really costs you a lot of money. And so vetting contractors, I know being a part of the community, if you're just getting started, I had someone reached out 2 days ago, matter of fact, on this exact scenario. They were brand new to the community. They were in another market than the one I'm in. And they're like, I don't know where to start, to find contractors. And so I've known this individual maybe a couple months because they're new to our community. And I told him, I said, hey, I know you're just getting started. I said, if you've got a couple contractors, if you'd like to do a 3-way call with me, I wouldn't mind getting on the phone with you and just asking some questions and so forth like that. So collaborating with people is really helpful, but vetting them and getting some references, looking at their work and making sure that you put stuff in writing. If they're telling you they're going to do XYZ for $7,000 and they're going to have it done in 3 weeks, you get that in writing. You have a contract, you get that on a piece of paper, you get it signed, you have some type of accountability. If they don't finish in 3 weeks and they finish in 5 weeks, it's going to cost that contractor a little bit of money if they don't come through. So again, great question, Mary. TJ, you've done a fantastic property tour today. We're so glad. You'll have to tell Jacob a lot of people have been complimenting you on your smile today because you smiled a lot. You always have, because you've always got a great mindset. You're very happy in life. But tell your partner Jacob we miss his smile as well. He's got $1 million smile, and and again, Thank you again. We're very blessed. I'm very honored that you were able to come out and take an hour of your day out. And for folks that are on today, thank you for taking an hour out of your day. And so we're going to be off next Saturday. That's going to be Christmas. And then the Saturday after that will be New Year's, but we'll be coming right back to you January 8th. We'll have a property tour out of Colorado. So please plug in. You can bring a guest. You can bring anybody out to these property tours you want to. And Jacob, Yaz, everybody, TJ, Merry Christmas, guys. And thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good. Goodbye.